Have you ever wondered what you've been missing while you were busy being right? Small things wait for us. Quiet things. They keep score in silence. The rain came soft that morning, a Boston drizzle that smelled of wet pavement and early coffee. In the glass lobby of Anderson Industries, a fountain burbled as men in dark suits shuffled papers. The clock on the marble wall ticked like an old metronome, steady and unforgiving. Before we continue, if you love stories that warm your heart and awaken emotions that help you to become a better person, be sure to subscribe to this channel and show your love by liking the video. Oh, and don't forget to comment below where you're watching us from. We love to know that. William Bill Anderson moved slowly along the carpet, his cane tapping a familiar rhythm. 72. A lifetime of boardrooms in the crease of his shoulders. He had been the man whose name opened doors. Now those doors opened politely, then closed again, like chapters he hadn't learned to finish. His routine was small now. Black coffee from the corner cart, the morning paper folded at the stock page, a walk through Boston Common when the city felt patient. He liked the paper's crossword puzzles, short battles he could still win. He liked the feel of leather on his palms, the sound of a neighbor waving hello. It kept him from being only a headline. "Morning, Mr. Anderson," Dorothy called from behind the service desk, her voice the same as the apron she'd worn for years. Dorothy Hayes, the woman who'd cleaned his offices when he was chasing growth and forgot birthdays. She moved with a quiet dignity, keys on a ring, her hair threaded with silver. Beside her a girl sat on a low stool, knees swinging. Anna Hayes. She was 17, small as a sparrow, eyes sharp as winter glass. Her backpack smelled of bread and lemon, the bakery where she worked after school. She kept to herself, but somehow she kept the room together. Bill nodded. "Morning, Anna." She looked up, cheeks wet from the cold, and smiled a quick, careful smile. Then she unfolded a crumpled napkin from the trash can, and with a pencil stolen from Dorothy's jar, began writing. He paused. On the napkin were numbers, not grocery math, but a grid of figures from that morning's meeting. A matrix. A problem the board had argued for 10 minutes and dismissed as too theoretical. Anna's hand moved quick and sure, marking steps, small circles, a neat, final line. "What are you doing?" Bill asked before he could stop himself. She blinked, then answered shyly, "Just helping the numbers make sense. My math teacher showed me something like this." Her voice was small in the open space. Bill felt a thin ache. A memory of a younger self, hunched over similar scribbles, the smell of cigars and the clink of ice. He had once loved this sort of puzzle. Pride fluttered up, then fell away. He crouched, closer than his cane allowed. The pencil scratched. Anna's lips whispered the reasoning. When she reached the final result, something in the room shifted. The fountain's burble softened, the rain slowed, and Bill realized he was listening like he hadn't in years. "Explain it to me," he said softly. Her eyes met his. "Okay." She began, and the lobby became a classroom of two. The old man who'd measured life in profit, and the young girl whose hands had learned to save pennies and solve equations. Outside, the city went about its business. Inside, something like mercy unfolded. A man learning how to be surprised. And in that small conversation, Bill felt the first, honest tug of regret, not bitter but opening, like a window in a house that had long been closed. He had been given a moment. He did not know yet what he would do with it. Hope, he thought, can arrive on a napkin. How many years does it take for a man to forget who he once hoped to become? Sometimes it happens slowly, like a page yellowing. Sometimes all at once. Bill Anderson remained beside Anna longer than he intended. The lobby's cold marble made his knees ache, but he didn't move. There was something strangely familiar in the way she explained the numbers. Clear, humble, honest. As if she didn't know she was doing something extraordinary. He had spent decades listening to men who made simple things sound complicated, and here was a girl making complicated things sound simple. Dorothy returned from polishing the brass railings. "Mr. Anderson, you need anything?" Bill shook his head. "Just learning." Dorothy raised an eyebrow, pleasantly surprised. "From her? Well, she's got her father's brain. God rest him." Anna froze a little. Bill caught the shift, but he didn't pry. Instead, he pointed to the numbers again. "Anna, walk me through this once more." She did. And again he listened. Her voice had a rhythm, soft, steady, almost musical. When she reached the final step, Bill felt something stir in him. Not pride, not envy, recognition. "This is linear optimization," he murmured. "We spent thousands on consultants for this," Anna shrugged. "It's just patterns. Then, math feels like cleaning. You put things where they belong." Bill smiled, not the stiff smile he reserved for shareholders, but the tired, genuine one he gave his grandchildren when they used to visit. Used to. He stood slowly, leaning on his cane. "Anna, has anyone ever taught you beyond schoolwork? Anyone encourage you?" Dorothy stepped in quickly. "She doesn't need to bother strangers, sir. Let the girl finish her homework." But Anna spoke first. "No, nobody teaches me more. We can't afford tutors." She said it without bitterness, just fact. Bill's chest tightened. He remembered being a boy in Ohio, doing math by flashlight because his father fell asleep before paying the electricity bill. He remembered a teacher, Mrs. Hargrove, who stayed late to show him the beauty behind the equations. Her hands were always warm, her patience endless. Anna watched him carefully. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Bill said, breath-catching. "You did something right." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the printed agenda from that morning's board meeting. He placed it beside her napkin. "This problem," he said, tapping the page, "stumped men who make $1 million a year." Anna blinked. "Really? Really?" Dorothy lifted her chin proudly. "Told you she's sharp." Bill inhaled deeply, almost painfully. A memory tugged, the kind that whispers, "Do something while you still can." "Anna," he said gently, "would you show this to me again tomorrow?" She nodded, shy but hopeful. "I can try." He smiled. "Good. Then I'll be here." As he walked away, cane tapping, something followed him. Not regret this time, but a possibility. He had spent a lifetime climbing ladders. Maybe it was time to lift someone else. There are moments in life when the world seems to shift just a few degrees, not enough to frighten you, but enough to make you wonder if you've been walking in the wrong direction all along. The next morning, Bill Anderson arrived at the marble lobby earlier than usual. His cane echoed through the hall before the building fully woke. The fountain trickled, soft and steady. Outside, Boston's morning fog hugged the sidewalks like an old memory. Dorothy was wiping the counter. Anna sat beside her again, backpack open, homework spread out. Bill cleared his throat. "Good morning." Anna brightened. "Hi, Mr. Anderson." He lowered himself into the chair across from her. "Ready to teach me more?" Dorothy chuckled. "Sir, she's gonna spoil you." But Bill wasn't listening. Anna had already begun explaining a new variation of the problem, one the board had dismissed entirely. Her pencil scratched lightly across a sheet of lined paper. She didn't hesitate, didn't overthink. She simply saw the solution. Bill leaned forward. "Anna, how did you learn to think like this?" "My dad taught me a little before he got sick." She paused. "He liked puzzles." The ache in her voice was small, but sharp. Bill softened. "He must have been very proud of you." She shrugged. "I hope so." Before he could reply, a familiar voice boomed behind him. "Bill, there you are. We have the reconciliation meeting in 10 minutes. It was Robert Hughes, the CFO, tall, loud, and allergic to humility. He glanced at Anna with mild annoyance. "And why exactly is the former CEO tutoring the janitor's kid?" Dorothy stiffened. Anna lowered her eyes. Bill straightened, his eyes sharpening. "She's solving a problem your entire department couldn't." Robert laughed. "Please, a child." "Not just a child," Bill corrected. "A mind." Robert waved a hand dismissively. "Bill, we don't have time for charity cases. Let's go." Bill didn't move. He looked at Anna, small, nervous, unsure, then back at Robert. "Cancel the meeting," Bill said. The lobby went silent. Robert blinked. "Excuse me?" "I said cancel it. We're not presenting a broken model again." He held up Anna's paper. "We're using this." Robert snatched it. "This? Chicken scratch from a teenager? Bill, this company deals in millions. And millions depend on the people we ignore." Bill snapped. The room froze. Bill rarely raised his voice. Age had softened him, but not destroyed his spine. Dorothy whispered, "Mr. Anderson, it's all right." But it wasn't. Something inside him had been sleeping for years, and Anna had woken it. Bill took the paper back from Robert with a calm, steady hand. "Send the team to my office in 30 minutes, he said. "I'll explain the model, and Anna's coming with me." Anna gasped. "Me? I can't." "Yes," Bill said gently. "You can." Robert sputtered, "This is absurd." "Absurd," Bill replied, "is ignoring brilliance because it wears the wrong shoes." And with that, Bill tapped his cane, nodded to Anna, and began walking toward the elevators. For the first time in decades, he felt alive, not as a CEO, not as a leader, but as a man finally doing something that mattered. There are rooms in life you enter only once, rooms that test not your strength, but your courage to be seen. For Anna Hayes, the boardroom on the 27th floor of Anderson Industries was one of those rooms. She stepped inside timidly, her sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. 12 leather chairs surrounded a long walnut table. A glass wall overlooked Boston. The river, the bridges, the skyline stretching softly beneath morning clouds. She felt small, invisible, uninvited. Bill Anderson noticed. He moved slower now, but with purpose, tapping his cane near her side. "Stand by me," he whispered. "You belong here as much as anyone." Anna nodded, though her hands trembled. The board members filed in, suits, ties, expensive perfumes, men with hair graying at the temples, women with clipboards full of numbers. They barely glanced at Anna, or if they did, it was with a faint frown, a dismissive curiosity. Robert Hughes walked in last, sighing dramatically. "Bill, for the love of God, let's not make a spectacle." Bill didn't answer. He tapped a button, and the room's large screen lit up with the financial model the board had struggled with for weeks. A problem about distribution routes, inventory optimization, and cost recovery projections. "We've run this scenario 3 times, one board member said. "It doesn't work." "That's because," Bill replied, "you approached it the wrong way." He turned to Anna. "You ready, kid?" She swallowed. I think so." Bill handed her a marker. The boardroom fell silent. Anna stepped forward, a girl in thrift store jeans, standing where only executives ever stood, and began writing the solution on the digital screen. Her handwriting was small, but steady. She spoke quietly, explaining each step the way she had explained it to Bill. Simple, honest, unpretentious. At first, some board members smirked. Then the smirks faded. Then the whispers stopped. Then silence deepened. Because it was correct. All of it. Perfectly correct. When she reached the last line, Anna turned around slowly. I think that fixes the cost issue," she whispered. Bill nodded proudly. "It does." Robert blinked hard. "But how did she—" Bill lifted his hand sharply. Intelligence doesn't wear a suit, Robert. The room froze. Another board member, older, with silver hair and soft eyes, leaned forward. Young lady, where did you learn this? Anna hesitated. My dad taught me, before he passed. A hush fell. Bill put a gentle hand on her shoulder. She's exceptional, and if any of you can't see it, then maybe you're sitting in the wrong chair. Anna looked up at him, eyes wide, hope blooming. For a moment, the whole room seemed to exhale. In the quiet, Anna realized something she had never believed before. She wasn't small, not here, not anymore, because someone finally saw her. Someone finally said, you belong. Some memories don't fade. They wait, quietly, patiently, until something or someone wakes them. For Bill Anderson, it began on the elevator ride down after the boardroom presentation. The doors closed softly, sealing him in with a silence that felt heavier than usual. Anna stood beside him, clutching her backpack, her shoulders still tense from the weight of so many eyes. I didn't say too much, did I? She whispered. Bill turned toward her, softened by her worry. No, you said exactly what needed saying. Anna smiled nervously. The room felt big. He nodded. Rooms feel smaller when you grow. Her face glowed just a little. The elevator hummed upward toward his private floor, and Bill's mind drifted, uninvited, back to a memory he hadn't touched in years. He saw himself at 15, long legs, skinny wrists, his father's old work boots too big for him. He remembered a teacher, Mrs. Hargrove, who had stayed late every Wednesday. She never rushed him, never mocked him for being slow. She used the chalkboard gently, as if numbers could bruise. One evening, after he solved his first full equation alone, she had placed a hand on his shoulder and said, You have a mind worth fighting for, Bill. Don't let the world convince you otherwise. No one had ever told him that again, until Anna, because teaching her, just listening to her, reminded him of the boy he once was. When the elevator doors opened, he remained still, one hand pressed against the rail. Mr. Anderson? Anna asked quietly. He blinked, returning to the present. Sorry, Anna. I was remembering. Dorothy, who had joined them on the ride up, watched him closely. She had known him since the hustle days, when ambition made him forget softer things. You okay, sir? She asked. Bill nodded. Better than I've been in years. He motioned for Anna to follow him into his office, a wide room lined with bookshelves and framed achievements, certificates, awards, photos of handshakes with men whose names filled newspapers. But suddenly, all of them felt small, because brilliance had walked in wearing thrift shoes and a second-hand backpack. Bill pointed to a small couch. Anna, sit. I want to ask you something. She perched carefully on the edge. He leaned forward, cane resting against his leg. What do you want to be? She froze, as if no one had ever asked her that before. I don't know, she whispered. Someone who uses numbers, maybe. Someone who understands how things work. Bill smiled. You already do. She lowered her eyes. But we don't have money for college. The confession fell heavy between them. Bill inhaled deeply, a slow, deliberate breath, the kind a man takes before changing a life. Then we'll find a way, he said softly. Anna looked up, eyes shining with disbelief. For the first time, Bill added, voice breaking just a little, I feel like I'm doing something that actually matters. And somewhere inside him, the young boy who once struggled with numbers smiled because he recognized himself in her. Some truths arrive softly, like dusk settling. Others arrive like a door swinging open after years of silence. For Anna, The truth about her father began in a place she never expected. Bill Anderson's office, beneath a framed photograph of her father's former employer. Bill sat across from her, hands folded, eyes thoughtful. He had been quiet for too long, and Anna felt it. "Mr. Anderson?" she asked gently. "Did I do something wrong?" He shook his head. "No, you did everything right." Then his voice softened. "It's me who has something to say." Dorothy, who had brought in tea moments earlier, hovered near the doorway. She knew the look on Bill's face. She had seen it the day his wife died, the day he stepped down as CEO, the day his first grandchild moved across the country. It was the look of a man carrying a heavy truth. Bill took a breath. "Anna, I knew your father." The world stilled. Anna sat straighter. "You did?" Bill nodded. "His name was Michael Hayes. He worked for this company nearly 30 years ago." Dorothy gently set her keys down and whispered, "He was a good man, honey." Anna clutched her backpack strap. "But my mom said he worked everywhere. Construction, night shifts, shipping." "He did," Bill said quietly, "because he was trying to raise you and pay for your mother's treatments." "And keep a roof over your heads." Anna's lips trembled. "He never told me." "Parents hide things," Bill said softly, "not to deceive, but to protect." Anna blinked rapidly, fighting tears. "What was he like?" Bill leaned back, eyes drifting to the window as memories resurfaced. "Smart, kind, the kind of employee who noticed when someone was hurting, even if they didn't say it." Dorothy nodded. "Always brought donuts for the graveyard crew." Bill's voice lowered. "He was one of the brightest analysts we ever had. But hardship, it falls hard on people like him, on people trying too hard." Anna felt a small, fragile ache bloom in her chest. Why didn't anyone help him? Bill's jaw tightened, age bringing regret, regret bringing truth. "I should have," he whispered, "but I was too busy being important." A tear rolled down Anna's cheek. She wiped it quickly, ashamed. Bill leaned forward. "You have his mind, Anna, and his heart. Your father was brilliant, but he never got the chance to show the world. I won't let that happen to you." Anna stared down at her hands. "He always told me to look for patterns, that they made everything easier." Bill smiled, a smile full of sadness and admiration. That was Michael, seeing order in chaos. Anna looked up, tears shining. "I miss him." Bill's voice cracked. "I miss the man I should have been to him." Silence fell, soft, heavy, healing. Then Bill placed a hand over hers. "You're not alone, Anna, not anymore." And for the first time in a long time, she believed it. There are days that mark your life like scars, days you don't choose, but that choose you. For Anna and Bill, this was one of them. It began with a storm. Boston's skies darkened by noon, the kind of heavy grey that warned the city to brace itself. The rain slapped the windows of Anderson Industries as if demanding entry. Inside, tension thickened like fog. Bill was in his office with Anna, walking her through old financial models, letting her scribble solutions on his whiteboard. She was laughing softly, something she rarely allowed herself, when the door swung open without a knock. Robert Hughes stood there, face pale with fury. "Bill," he snapped, "we have a problem." Bill steadied himself with his cane. "What kind of problem?" "The board," Robert hissed. "They're calling an emergency meeting, now." Anna froze. Did I?" "No," Bill said quickly. "You didn't do anything wrong." But the look on Robert's face said otherwise. Bill stepped closer. "What is this really about?" Robert threw a folder onto the desk. "This, the girl's model." Anna's eyes widened. "But it was correct." Robert's jaw tightened. "Too correct." He pointed to a chart with columns highlighted in red. Her solution revealed a multi-year oversight in our logistics department, millions in misallocated funds. Bill's breath caught. He knew what that meant. Not just mistakes, not accidents, fraud. Robert continued, and guess who the oversight points to? He jabbed his finger into his own chest. Me! Anna whispered, but the math. Shut up, Robert snapped. Bill slammed his cane onto the floor. Don't you speak to her that way? Robert turned to him, trembling with anger. You embarrassed me, Bill. Parading a janitor's daughter into a boardroom, undermining me in front of everyone, and now her little demonstration is about to blow up the entire company. Bill took a long breath, steady, controlled. Then perhaps it should. You're insane, Robert said. If this gets out, the shareholders will revolt. Your legacy will crumble. Bill looked at Anna, scared, small but brilliant. My legacy, Bill said quietly, isn't numbers on a wall. It's what I choose to do next. Before Robert could respond, a voice echoed from the hallway. Mr. Anderson? It was Linda Moore, the head of compliance. They're waiting for you in the boardroom. Robert straightened smugly. Better come explain yourself. Bill put a gentle hand on Anna's shoulder. Stay here. I'll handle this. But Anna grabbed his sleeve. I'm scared. I know, kid, Bill whispered. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing anyway. She swallowed hard. Do you want me to stay? He met her eyes, really saw her, and shook his head softly. No, he said. I want you to walk with me. Anna's breath hitched. Dorothy, standing behind her, nodded with pride. So together, the old CEO with a cane and the young girl with brilliance in her hands, they stepped toward the boardroom, and outside, the storm finally broke. Some rooms are built to intimidate, tall ceilings, heavy doors, chairs meant for giants. But sometimes the smallest person in the room carries the biggest truth. Anna followed Bill down the long hallway, her heart pounding with every step. The rain hammered the windows like an angry drum. Thunder rumbled overhead, shaking the building just enough to make her wonder if the sky itself was trying to warn them. The boardroom was full. 12 people in suits sat rigidly around the giant walnut table. The atmosphere was electric, tense enough to cut. Monitors glowed with charts and spreadsheets. Someone whispered, someone else scribbled angrily. Every head turned as Bill entered. Some looked relieved, some looked furious, and a few, the oldest ones, looked afraid. But when Anna stepped in behind him, the room shifted. A few brows rose, a soft snicker echoed. Someone muttered, "This is ridiculous." Robert sat near the head of the table, arms crossed, jaw clenched. He smirked when he saw her. Bill tapped his cane once, a sharp, commanding sound. "Let's begin." The murmurs died instantly. Linda Moore, the head of compliance, cleared her throat. Mr. Anderson, the board has reviewed the preliminary findings. The discrepancies are substantial. And embarrassing, Robert snapped, caused by this child meddling with numbers she doesn't understand. Anna flinched, but Bill stood taller. She understands more than you ever did. Gasps echoed. Robert slammed a hand on the table. Bill, enough. No, Bill said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. The weight of 72 years, mistakes, victories, and truths finally ready to surface. He turned to the board. Anna solved a problem your analysts couldn't. Her model revealed a pattern we've ignored for 5 years, misallocated inventory, misreported routing costs, money disappearing quietly, line by line. He paused. And every trail leads back to the same department. All eyes slid toward Robert. Robert's face reddened. You're accusing me of fraud. I'm accusing you of negligence at best, Bill said. And at worst, something far darker. Thunder cracked. Rain streaked the windows. Nobody breathed. Linda spoke again, Voice calm but firm. We cross-referenced the data with access logs. Only 3 people had the authority to alter those numbers. She turned to Robert. You were one of them. Robert stood abruptly. This is an ambush. No, Bill said. This is accountability. Anna's fingers gripped the back of Bill's chair. She felt tiny, but she wasn't afraid anymore, not with him standing beside her. One older board member, Samuel Green, the kind of man with soft eyes and a lifetime of quiet wisdom, leaned forward. Mr. Anderson, he said gently, what do you propose? Bill looked around the room, then at Anna, the girl who'd stumbled into his life on a quiet morning and somehow become its compass. She presents the corrected model, he said. Tonight. To all of you, Robert scoffed. A teenager? You'll ruin us. Bill's gaze sharpened. The company was ruined the moment we stopped listening to people who tell the truth. The boardroom fell silent again. Anna looked up at Bill, her voice small but steady. Should I begin? And with a single nod from Bill, the girl stepped to the head of the table. A room built for giants was finally ready to hear her. Truth doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it walks in softly, wearing borrowed courage and second-hand shoes, and still manages to break a room in half. Anna stood at the front of the boardroom, her palms damp, her breath uneven. The screen behind her glowed with numbers that had once felt harmless, but now carried the weight of accusations. She glanced at Bill, who gave her a single nod, slow, steady, the kind that told her she wasn't alone. She clicked the remote. The first slide appeared. Good evening, she said softly. Half the room rolled their eyes. The other half leaned in without meaning to. My name is Anna Hayes, she continued. My father worked for this company years ago. He loved numbers. He taught me to look for the patterns people miss. There was a murmur, a shift. Robert snorted. Spare us the biography. Bill shot him a glare so sharp, Robert's jaw snapped shut. Anna pressed on. This first chart, she said, pointing, shows the distribution algorithm your team has been using. The model looks balanced, but it isn't. She clicked again. Red columns appeared. These missing percentages represent product that was recorded as in transit, but never arrived at any distribution center. Over 5 years, this added up to nearly $40 million. The room inhaled sharply. Anna swallowed but continued. When I recalculated the routes using a more accurate demand forecast, the pattern became clear. Someone was adjusting the numbers each quarter to hide the discrepancy. Another click. The screen zoomed in on a set of timestamps. These access logs show each time the reports were edited. 3 users had permission. 2 never logged in during those hours. She paused. 1 did. The logs highlighted Robert's ID. Silence shattered the air like glass. Robert shot to his feet. This is nonsense. This is a... Sit down, Linda Moore said firmly, and for the first time her voice trembled with anger. Anna's voice softened. I don't know why the numbers were changed. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe it was pressure. Maybe it was fear. Robert glared at her. You think you know anything about fear, girl? Anna looked at him. Small, shaking, but her words were steady. My father worked 3 jobs so we wouldn't starve. I know fear. The room stilled. Bill's cane tapped quietly as he stepped toward her. What she's showing you, he said, isn't just fraud. It's a mirror, a reminder of what happens when people in power stop caring who gets hurt. Robert's voice cracked. Bill, you can't do this to me. Bill looked at him long and hard. You did this to yourself. Linda closed her laptop. Effective immediately. We're launching a full investigation. Robert swayed. You believe her? A janitor's daughter? Samuel Green, oldest on the board, stood slowly. We believe the numbers, he said. Anna exhaled shakily. Bill placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did good," he murmured, and for the first time that night, she believed it. The truth had broken the room. There are choices we make in seconds that echo for a lifetime. Sometimes they save us. Sometimes they save someone we were meant to meet. Anna and Bill walked out of the boardroom together. The storm had passed. The building smelled of wet stone and night air creeping through the revolving doors. Anna's hand still trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of what she had done. Bill settled onto a lobby bench, breath slow, leaning on his cane. "Sit with me a moment," he said. Anna obeyed quietly. "Do you know what today was?" Bill asked. "A mess?" she whispered. He chuckled. "Yes, and also a beginning." Anna looked down. "I didn't want to hurt anyone." "You didn't," Bill said gently. "You saved a company. You saved the truth." He paused. "And maybe you saved me too." She blinked. "Saved you?" Bill's voice softened with age, regret, memory. "I spent decades building something that looked big on the outside and hollow on the inside. I forgot the boy I once was. I forgot the people who helped me." He looked at her. "But watching you today, I remembered." Anna's throat tightened. "Mr. Anderson, I don't know what comes next." He nodded. "Then let me tell you." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. Worn at the edges, as if he had carried it with him for days, waiting for the right moment. "For me?" she asked. "For your future." Inside the envelope was a letter, typed, official, and a check. A scholarship program proposal, her name at the top. Anna gasped. "Is this real?" "Yes," Bill said. "A full scholarship, any college in Massachusetts. I'll sponsor the entire thing." Tears sprang instantly to her eyes. "But why?" Bill looked at her with the softness of a grandfather he never got to be. "Because someone once believed in me when I had nothing," he whispered. "Now it's my turn." She clutched the letter to her chest. "I don't know how to thank you." He smiled warmly. "You already have." They sat together as the building emptied, the night settling gently around them. Dorothy approached and wrapped Anna in a proud hug. "You did good, kid," she said. "Your dad would have smiled so big today." Anna cried into Dorothy's shoulder. Bill watched, quiet, humbled, knowing this was the moment that would stay with him until his last breath. When Anna finally stood to leave, she turned back. "Mr. Anderson?" "Yes, Anna?" She wiped her cheeks. "You changed my life." Bill's eyes glistened. "No," he said softly. "You changed mine." She smiled, bright, brave, full of future, and walked into the night. Bill remained seated, listening to the soft hum of the empty lobby, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose, hope, and gratitude for the small, unexpected moment that started it all. A pencil on a napkin, a girl with brilliance in her eyes, a man remembering who he once wanted to be. Life's greatest transformations often begin with the smallest gestures, a scribbled number, a shy explanation, a moment of courage. Time teaches us that wisdom is not measured by age alone, but by the hearts we choose to lift along the way. And sometimes the person we save is ourselves.